Few leaders are as unpredictable and ruthless as Kim Jong-un, but it seems Vladimir Putin may have just provoked him in a way that could have explosive consequences. Reports are emerging that North Korean soldiers, assured they would serve in safe defensive positions, are instead being used as cannon fodder in Ukraine. If true, this is a betrayal that could drive a wedge between two authoritarian leaders who recently forged a dangerous new alliance. Imagine how this story could unravel. North Korean troops, undertrained and under-equipped, being thrown onto the battlefield to face relentless Ukrainian artillery and drones. What happens when Kim Jong-un finds out his forces are being sacrificed? Could this put the entire Russia-North Korea relationship in jeopardy? Today on USA Affairs, we dive into these troubling reports, uncover the evidence of North Korean troops fighting in Russia, and examine the potential fallout for this risky alliance. What does it mean for Putin, Kim Jong-un, and ultimately the United States? Let's start with the basics. Both Russia and North Korea officially deny that DPRK soldiers are on the front lines in Ukraine, but mounting evidence suggests otherwise. It all began in late 2024 when Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un finalized a strategic partnership agreement. On the surface, this was a formal extension of the two countries' growing relationship, but buried in Article 4 of this treaty was a clause that effectively created a mutual defense pact, not unlike NATO's Article 5. If either country is attacked, the other is obligated to provide military support. This clause has become the basis for what we're seeing now. When Ukrainian forces launched strikes on Russia's Kursk region, it justified Moscow to call on its North Korean ally for support. Kim Jong-un, eager to deepen ties with Russia, reportedly agreed. What followed was a series of coordinated efforts to quietly transport North Korean soldiers into Russian territory. The Kremlin, of course, denies this outright, and Pyongyang has largely dismissed the allegations as Western propaganda, but the evidence tells a different story. Satellite images, leaked videos, and intercepted communications paint a disturbing picture. South Korea's National Intelligence Service recently released satellite photos showing troop movements in Russia's Far East. According to these reports, as many as 1,500 North Korean soldiers were transported by Russian naval vessels in October, with some later spotted near training facilities close to the Ukrainian border. Videos, geolocated by Ukrainian intelligence, appeared to confirm these movements. In one, Korean-speaking soldiers, dressed in Russian military uniforms, are seen participating in drills. Another video, reportedly taken in Sergeyevka, shows troops collecting equipment. These soldiers reportedly spoke Korean, with accents not typical of South Korea, suggesting they were indeed from the north. Perhaps most damning is the intercepted communications between Russian soldiers who reportedly complained about the arrival of Chinese troops, likely a mistaken reference to North Koreans. The soldiers expressed frustration over language barriers and a lack of translators, raising questions about how effectively these foreign troops could be integrated into Russia's war effort. Still, neither Russia nor North Korea has acknowledged these allegations. Instead, they've dismissed the evidence as fabricated, labeling it part of a broader campaign to discredit their alliance. Why would North Korea agree to send troops into a conflict as brutal as the war in Ukraine? The answer lies in what Kim Jong-un stands to gain from his partnership with Russia. For years, North Korea has been isolated on the world stage, crippled by sanctions and dependent on limited trade with China. Aligning with Russia offers Kim a chance to break out of this isolation. Reports suggest that Moscow has promised Pyongyang significant incentives in return for its support. These include hundreds of thousands of tons of rice annually, advanced military technology, and even direct payments to soldiers' families. But there's more at play than just economic aid. For Kim Jong-un, Supporting Russia is a way to assert North Korea's relevance in global geopolitics. By stepping into the Ukraine conflict, Pyongyang sends a message to the world. We're not just a pariah state, we're a player on the global stage. For Putin, the benefits are equally clear. Russia's war effort is struggling. Ukrainian forces, bolstered by Western support, have pushed back Russian advances. Moscow is running low on manpower and ammunition. North Korea, with its massive standing army and stockpiles of artillery shells, offers a lifeline. While this partnership appears mutually beneficial, it's not without risks, particularly for Putin. If reports of North Korean troops being used as cannon fodder are true, it could provoke a fierce response from Kim Jong-un. Kim is not known for his tolerance of betrayal. If he believes his soldiers are being sacrificed recklessly, he could retaliate in ways that would have serious consequences for Russia. For one, Pyongyang could cut off the supply of artillery shells that Moscow desperately needs. This would cripple Russia's war effort, which relies heavily on heavy bombardments to maintain its positions. There's also the risk of military escalation. North Korea's proximity to Russia's Far East gives Kim leverage. In a worst-case scenario, he could target strategic Russian territories, like Vladivostok, a critical hub for trade with China. And then there's the nuclear question. North Korea's arsenal, while rudimentary compared to Russia's, is enough to pose a significant threat. If relations between Moscow and Pyongyang sour, the world could be staring down an even more volatile nuclear crisis. For the United States, the alliance between Russia and North Korea represents a dangerous convergence of authoritarian regimes. While the direct involvement of North Korean troops in Ukraine might not change the course of the war, it signals a troubling shift in global geopolitics. North Korea's support for Russia undermines the international sanctions regime designed to isolate Pyongyang. It also emboldens other rogue states, signaling that alliances with larger powers like Russia or China can provide a shield against Western pressure. From a military perspective, the presence of North Korean troops in Ukraine adds another layer of complexity for NATO. It forces the alliance to consider how far it's willing to go in countering not just Russia, but its network of allies. Finally, there's the human toll. If North Korean soldiers are indeed being used as cannon fodder, it raises questions about the ethics of alliances, with regimes willing to sacrifice their people so readily. For the US, this is yet another reminder of the stakes in defending democratic values against authoritarian aggression. As of now, the evidence of North Korean troops in Ukraine remains circumstantial, but it's hard to ignore the growing body of reports pointing in that direction. If these allegations are confirmed, it could have far-reaching consequences for the war in Ukraine, the alliance between Russia and North Korea, and global security as a whole. For Kim Jong-un, the decision to support Russia may have seemed like a calculated gamble, but if his soldiers are being used as disposable pawns, that gamble could backfire spectacularly. And for Putin, aligning with a leader as volatile as Kim Jong-un may prove to be a double-edged sword. While the partnership provides short-term relief, the long-term cost could be devastating. The presence of North Korean troops in Ukraine, if true, is a chilling reminder of how desperate and unpredictable this war has become. It's a stark example of how authoritarian regimes manipulate their people and alliances to sustain their power. As Americans, it's critical to stay informed about these developments. The actions of leaders like Putin and Kim Jong-un may seem distant, but their consequences ripple across the globe, impacting our security and values. For more insights into global politics, alliances, and their implications for the United States, subscribe to USA Affairs. Together, we can navigate these complex issues and advocate for a safer, more democratic world.